Okay, good morning, Han Verduin. Have a great new year as well. Nice to see that you guys also almost all, like a lot of people that I know, bought one-on-one trading sessions that we are going to start from Wednesday, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to those. And I saw, for example, Han also booked one in January, so that's really nice. Good morning, Jos from Antwerp. Happy New Year. And yeah, guys, I'm very very glad. Um, and That's a little explanation part, and then it's also half an hour, and then I'm going to the private sessions. But I'm really really looking forward to that. If that half an hour seems not to be enough, we're gonna start just half an hour earlier. But I know when we are doing a forex overview, it's really possible in half an hour. So today we still have all the time. But yeah, as I said, I know it's possible. If you just go concentrated only over the different pairs, then it is a very clear. Then it's very clear what we want to do. Good. Talking here about the first pair. Then to start. Good morning, everybody who's jumping in. I see that more and more people are jumping in. Really good. Welcome and happy New Year. NCD USD first pair, who is in a major uptrend, minor uptrend. Currently, only the entry line is red. We had a fall of this pair during the Asia session. A couple of yellow lines here. I don't exactly know. I think they were used before, yeah, to sell. And I mostly really like to keep those lines there because they give me certain information that there were strong support resistance levels before, that we had take profits there probably, or support mostly take profit levels in the past. And if this market is now growing, we always know that in between two, if it's pivotal levels, that in between two pivotal levels is another one, and in between those two is another one. So if you divide this one by two, there probably will be a line about here, and if you divide that by two, you have the high of this night and the high of Thursday. So I can open pivot levels, and then you can see that here you see is a ultimate resistance level line. So it's interesting to keep old lines. On the other side, it's also sometimes really great to just clean up your chart. And what's the best time to do that as the 1st of January in the new year? So I'm going to clean up my charts, and I'm going to let go of any old drawings that we had before. It's clean, it's nice, and we're going to start the year fresh. Now, a little bit about the start of a new year. The first days are mostly going to be like every Monday, Tuesday in this case, because it was the New Year's was over the weekend. So pretty simple. It was actually on Friday, Saturday night that most people had all their celebrations, depending on your time zone. And yeah, so basically, yesterday was a day for resting, and today is just a normal work day. Now, if I look into my own office here, a lot of people have difficulty being here before 9 a.m. Um, so I think that it's going to be a bit of a slow start. We can also see that here on the volumes: 20K, 20, 18, 30, 23. Asia session is a little bit done. You see here the volumes are already down. A couple of pairs here are hitting 30, 40K in volume. The USA session is very low. So that's what you can see already if you add a volume here, which you can add here by hitting those three dots and then adding volume. And I also have change in percentage. I don't have change in pips because I don't really see a big value on that to have the pips changed. But it's the percentage and the volume and of course the ticker. So it gives us a little bit of an idea of the last price, the change in percentage, and the volume, and also the change in percentage. Not that important for me because it's per tick, so it's just where it's going right now, and not like 24-hour or something like that. Okay, then looking to this chart, what I would only do is I would only think about buying when we are above the cloud. So that's for today. And for the week, the question is, what did it do last week? So we have here one, two, three, four, five. And you see here the market was slightly up. And what you can do, you can draw that arrow. You can do it with a bar pattern as well if you want more detail. Or you do it just with an arrow and you move that arrow up to next Friday. And then you know a little bit where the chart can dance around with the target here on 68756 if the speed of last week would be the same on next week. Very good question from Jos. Can we send topics that we can cover in more details on Tuesdays? Yes, you can. You can send them to info@baskoyman.eu as an email, or you can send them to my Instagram at bkoyman, where by email I can make sure that they are integrated in the session, or on Instagram I can just check them live even. So if you have any new topics, anything that you want to discuss, if it's good for the public, I can share it with you guys. We can go over the topics or just ask it at the start of the session. So if you prepare it and you ask it at the start of the session, most questions I don't have to prepare for, so we are doing them on the fly. So that for sure always works. 15-minute chart. Yeah, I was trading some shorter trades at the end of the year, so I was probably still on the 15 minutes. Doesn't really matter though, because I am based on how much days are we talking about for this arrow. So here's the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was the arrow. With 1 hour, you just have a little bit less confirmations. Now, what we also see here on the 1 hour chart is good to check it as well. Is that we are hitting the major trend line being red still. So on the 15 minutes, we are already in an uptrend. We already had some buys last Friday. And on the 1 hour, we are not yet there. So the market here started to trend up on 23 December on the 15 minutes. But it took quite some time for the market to actually try and hit here the first time on Thursday and last night and Friday as well, the major trend line. So the question is if this major trend line can be broken. And as you see, the trend of last week continuing for this week would be only slightly up. So this market is actually not that aggressive yet. We're talking about 30 pips in a week. So the market really needs to boom above this major trend line for going up. If you're on the 15 minutes for a day trade, then trade it to the high of Friday, or the high of Thursday and the high of tonight. There's a little trade there to push to. But as I said, not too much volume. So let's see what else we have, and let's stick to the 1 hour chart to give us a bit more clarity. Also here I'm going to delete our old little trades that we have been doing. And here we see NZD cat moving down, major trend down, minor trend down, entry line down. Sorry. And the CCI being negative as well, even though it's pointing upwards at the moment. So this, I will enlarge it a bit. This is very important to see. We have the zero line here. CCI is almost green, and it might resist on that zero level, but currently you see the effect of that is a green candle. So the CCI was very negative, minus 362 on Friday, creating this serious drop. um, it went to minus 26, but now it's above minus 26, and it might even turn to green in a bit. So, very, very important before entering any trade is to double check the CCI if it's actually negative, preferably in the minus 100 section, or in the plus 100 section for a buy. If you do that, and you can specifically do that on the 15 minutes, because that's here where you see it's more aggressive, it's more actively doing that. Here it's looking to the last 20 times a quarter, so 15 minutes times 20 is the average that it's making. And here it's looking to about a day of average data. So there's a very big difference. It's 4 hours, or do I say it correctly? No, 6 hours or 24 hours. That's a very big difference, right? So the goal is to see on the long run, is this a downtrend on the hour? 15-minute confirmation for straight entries. So that's very important. So would I jump in here now, even though here everything says it's red? No, because CCI is pointing upwards. We also have a very strong green candle following that. What I would like to see is that it's resisting around that zero CCI, pointing downwards again. And then we can have already an entry for the day for about 30 pips to the low of tonight. Can use pivots to determine if that is a smart idea. They said, okay, we are on ultimate support, so I would wait for pivots to come down also. And then that -2 level 0.6365 will probably be the new zero ultimate support. And when that drops, then we can enter and we can go for those 30 pips. So a bit early to check. Here are some other levels that we have to take a look at. So what I mostly do is I'm drawing those support resistance levels. You see here it's a 0, and here it's a -2, so it can probably become the new -2. And then for the week, if this actually becomes a downtrend, mostly I turn off pivots again. So if this continues to go down, and if we zoom out, that's an option. If it continues to go down, then the first is just 30 pips, 30, exactly 30.0, then 62 and a half, and then 122 and a half. So those, and then of course I wouldn't go to the pivot level, but I would go to the low of 8 December. So if this market starts to fall, that's where I would say with NZD-CAD we can go. It's one that I mark with a red flag to see if this market drops, and if CCI starts to correct, and if pivot levels gives us new levels, then we can actually go there. So that's something that is of my interest. NZD JPY making a move up already for a while. Also here deleting old targets that we hit. Really nice though. Markets moved up here and quite a lot. The speed of the chart here for the last week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Pretty aggressive. Moving that to the upcoming week. If it keeps going like that, there was 188 pips, so basically straight line up. Um, then that's a very serious target. So you can see that as well on the pivot levels. There are some different levels here. The R8, but here you see an old R8 is almost exactly at that target. So that's where things can come together. There is a level in between here that was a support level, but as you understand, that can also be um, resistance. Pivot levels are in there all the same. So this is what we see. You see here, this was a support 0. It's now a ultimate resistance 8. So if this market starts to grow, then we are looking into an potentially 88 pips. But first, let's take the first 50, then that 88, then about 127, and then about 176, which is a lot. Might take a week or two, but it's the start of the year, so I really like to see a couple of pairs just going into their zone. We have been selling a lot here. Market changed, minor trend, major trends not green yet, but market moved so seriously that it started to move up, and now they are crossing. We also here have the 22 December moment that the minor trend on here became green, but it's the major trend on the 15-minute chart. So on the 15-minute chart, people have been buying this already since the 22nd. As you see, multiple buy options here also from the Infinity tools. So green taking to NZD and this is very interesting because we have a bit the same as with the GBP, is that before all the GBP pairs were moving in the same direction. Like before Brexit, like 1.5, 2 hour, 2 years ago, honestly, all pairs, all GBP was just in the morning, at least for the first hour or the first 2 hours. But basically, they were copy paste with their own values. Some of them went quicker, some of them went slower, but all of them had the same direction. That's over since Brexit. GBP is trading individually towards others, and yeah, it's just very interesting to me to see that GBP JPY can go up and GBP AUD can go down, as an example. Because for all these years, GBP was moving steadily the same way. Euro never did that. Euro was always very individual towards others. But NZD was also a pair like that. So NZD, AUD, they were moving pretty synchronous. And now you see NZD CAT potentially down, NZD JPY potentially up, and that's really possible. And it depends especially on what the other pair is. So if it's Canada and the other one is Japan, yeah, that's of course a very big difference. So if you do NZD CAT and NZD USD, they still have a high correlation, but NZD CAT, NZD JPY, they don't have any correlation anymore. So the only correlation in there is that NZD is one of the two pairs, but it has no root. So NZD CAT can perfectly go down in the upcoming week, and NZD JPY can grow in the upcoming week. Doesn't have anything to do with the NZD itself. So going forward to AUD, we had a buy there last week. Hit take profits. That's good. Cleaned all the charts. A little bit the same situation is that also here the major trend is still down. Entry line is down as well. CCI is negative, so it's definitely not a buy for right now. It might not even be a buy for today, but the market is slowly climbing. So for those 5 days, the market has not moved a lot. You see here the start point and here the end point was about 50 pips, which for AUD USD, of course, is not a lot. This is not a precedent for the upcoming week. The upcoming week is basically a full trading week again. It might start slow today and tomorrow. I think a lot of people didn't sleep a lot. I didn't sleep a lot last night. Brought my sister to the airport this morning at 6 a.m. And yeah, I think that the day is going to start slow. Tomorrow, probably the market is just back as every Tuesday. And from Wednesday, we are going to have our private sessions. And I hope the market is at absolutely full speed ahead. No opinion yet on AUD USD, but probably it's going to be a slow growth. there. AUD CAT is having a bit of trouble. Thursday dropped by 134 pips from Thursday high to Friday low. Pretty intense, actually. That this could happen in such a short period of time. I do think that that would have a recovery. So here we had the first wave with a recovery, then the second wave with a little bit of a recovery. But the question is, what's now? So I would say that it would be very normal to try to hit about the recovery level there, as in this is one wave and we are having a 50% correction. That became very messy, but you guys understand what I mean. Um, so that's what I do expect, that it might be here kissing the clouds or getting trapped in a corner like this. Something, this is too high, but somewhere here. If that works, then after that, the market can decide to go deeper again. Even though it's in an uptrend, the other option is that it breaks through all those levels and we need to go back all the way there before we can slowly start growing again. And I don't know how AUD Cat's gonna do that. So it clearly was some heavy sell-offs before the end of the year. The question is if that recovery is coming in soon. The different trends, the minor trend here, for example, is curving heavily downwards. That can become red, so very very interesting if that there's an option. Jos, in GBP, NZD, USD, GBP, and CAD, it's bank holiday today. Does that impact the market a lot today? So Forex is open. Like I always say, Forex has only a few days, and I think it's three that we are really closed. And it's first Christmas Day, second Christmas Day, and New Year's. The rest of the year, Forex is open. And it has to be because the world economy of trade, not only trading Forex, but trade in general, depends on having currency prices. So, um, for us, we can trade every day. What means that if the London exchange, or like London exchange itself, might have a bank holiday, as in the physical building and the people in there, but the systems and the automation and the banks and the people that decide to be trading today are keeping this market alive. Now, that might be a way lower amount of people than tomorrow. So what that would affect is just that there is less volume, less traders, less decisions made, less volume pushed, and therefore a less active market. So we will see. London opens in an hour. I'm really interested to see what it's gonna do, and I will probably put my first trades in 2 hours earliest. And then I'm one of those guys that does trade today, while many others maybe still have a holiday. And it is a very good point. Let me check something here. New Year's Day holiday in Canada and in the UK. Indeed, the New Year's Day observed. And then tomorrow, the 2nd January, is a substitute day in Scotland. And then we have the 12th night in the United Kingdom, which is an observance holiday. And then we have Epiphany in Canada, and as a Christian holiday on the 6th. So this week, probably already volume, but it might be coming really, really close. Then next week we have Martin Luther King Day on the 17th. Yeah, it's interesting, guys. It's really interesting. So I think that we have a slow start of the year today and tomorrow, but we should be back on track and on target, volume wise, somewhere later this week. So let's see what AUD CAD's gonna do. I'm really interested, but I don't know yet. So I'm gonna leave it like this, no colors. We had a lot of drawings on AUD NZD. AUD NZD is a pretty clear trend, which is interesting. We started this trend on about 8 December as well. A lot of things changed on 8 December. The market move was 150 pips, but pretty slowly over the period of 21 days. For today, we see that there is still this uptrend, but the market is under the cloud. CCI is negative, even though that this negative bump of CCI did not really move the market a lot. So it's also very interesting to see when you have negative CCI, how heavily does that impact, and when you have positive CCI, how much market moves there. So here, for example, we had, let's say this is a little dip, but here we had about 2 days of positive CCI. So in those 2 days, the market had a maximum move of 36 pips. Now here we have, for example, a bunch of negativity, and here as well, you can measure that to say, okay, so from this high after it crosses the zero till it's zero again, minus about 10 pips. And then it goes positive again to the old top, and then when it's hitting zero, all the way till it's zero again, which is there, we are about minus 10, minus 13 pips. So the minus spikes on CCI are having about 10 pips negative influence, but the positive spikes, they push it up by 15 to 30 pips. Here in two waves, 30 pips. So if you see that the positive CCI has more pips effect than the negative CCI having negative pips effect, you're really still in an uptrend. So that's good. Now, the last 2 days of the year, 30 and 31 December, nothing happened on almost no market. So it is very important to realize that, and we here would have to see what the market is gonna do. So I do expect a slow growth at the start of the year here. So up to the 7th of January, midnight. Let's see where we can go. Not a lot of reference points here. Can be also the +2 level. Um, so there's a bunch of levels where we can potentially go to. But to be honest, this after the market stabilizes above the cloud, and then it's about 40 pips for the week, maybe, unless we get some crazy action that I don't know yet. But the market probably just starts slow. Probably just starts slow. Moving that one to a green flag to see later if this is actually something we can trade. But it's a pretty clear uptrend. And even though it was very sad for the last 4 days of the year, we might now just start growing from there. Andre Comao, nice to see you here. We had a good chat on Instagram last week. Happy New Year, and looking forward to our sessions, booking multiple of them. Really, really great opportunity together. AUDJPY, same uptrend but very shallow, so nothing specifically. So for Asia session, that's what I got. For the Europe session, I'm going to go a bit faster. We're going to delete all of this because we are in the new year. I don't know if I did that here. Boom. Delete the old stuff. Start the new ones. Euro AUD dropping, but currently on the wrong side of the cloud. Euro NZD made a move We at that point said, okay, down or up, up, and exactly to target, so that's nice. Um, Now falling since the high of 20 December, deleting old lines. And now the question is, what is this gonna do? It's trapped between the major trend and the minor trend, and it looks very trapped. You see here, it's in the bottom, it's on the high, it was on the bottom, a little bit below, on the high, a little bit above. So it's trapped between minor and major trend, and you see here this nice green red, that it's just undecisive. So Euro NZD, I wouldn't advise anything until you have a clear trend. Euro CAD dropped a lot last 2 days of the year. Technically, it was an uptrend before, but already dropping also since 20 December. So, guys, turning points 8 December. 8 December, a lot of things happened in the market, and we also see 20 December, a lot of things changed direction. So sometimes those days they are having a certain amount of news, they are changing the market sentiment on certain other moments, and yeah. Here we have Euro USD with an old flag here, that we expect to exit on top because the bottom was flat and the tops became lower until they now finally spiked out a bit. But this is still nothing. It's still not really going to make its move. It did like a nice spike here on Friday. Um, but yeah, recovered already, and it's still on this dead level. It doesn't reach the bottom anymore though. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna delete all those old charts, and we're just gonna look fresh, and we're gonna say it's too early to start buying. It's too early to start buying. Euro JPY, we had a trade last week to buy, really good. It hit. Market still very green. CCI a bit on the minus, on the zero level, a plus 11. Um, I'm looking worried for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. We moved last week. We moved 158 pips, so that's a lot of volume in pips for the Euro JPY, and it should just keep up with that. So there is a chance that we have this move for about 100 pips, and we would continue having that move for another 100 something pips in the upcoming week. It's unclear if that would actually happen. It's pretty steep. It might go a little bit slower, but I would say that there's a big possibility that this new uptrend now is there. You need to check with pivots what the possibilities are. But I'm marking this one green, and I'm going to keep an eye on it. As I said, I will probably trade earliest in about 2 hours. Um, so London opens in an hour. Frankfurt just opened, maybe a little bit of volume, but yeah. Okay, time to clean up Euro GBP. Euro GBP also too early to buy, but still too early to sell, too early to trade. But had a really, really great trend last week. So here from 27 December, guys, this is great. I hope you guys. This is 77 pips, but the most beautiful part is it was so clean under the cloud. Just kept going in one direction. You can check with the pivots where your targets are. Let me know in the chat box if you guys had some, if you guys made some pips, made some funds on Euro GBP, because that would be, yeah, that would be very normal if you are having infinity. Would be very normal to make some money on this Euro GBP last week. Yeah, really good. For now, I wouldn't directly invest in Euro GBP. I think that here we reached a few very nice bottom levels and a spike down. Let's see what this market does. It can make a bit of a pullback, which would be very normal, but I'm not sure if it goes another same amount of pips down. So I can't make a weekly analysis on this one. GBP USD turning around. Also here, clean up all the old drawings gone. 2021 is in the past, guys. We are going to look to the future. GBP USD is moving up. GBP CAD technically moving up as well. Just comparing those two, nice uptrends. Only GBP CAD. The CAD just dropped on those last 2 days. But we saw that before on Euro CAD and on AUD CAD. So CAD related. The Canadian dollar just became really strong in the last 2 days of the last year. So why I technically don't know, but I do know that it happened on all the cat related pairs. Doesn't mean that GBP cat is not in an uptrend. It still is. I would just simply not buy until this is recovered, and that gives a bit of the same with Euro cat, which was in an uptrend before this happened, and AUD CAD was in an uptrend, and we draw all this stuff before this happened as well. So it's the big question mark. What is going to happen if it's going to be just naturally resetting, um, or if it stays like this, and that means that the cat was undervalued, is valued the right way, and then we need to see new trends going down in most of those pairs. Okay, GBP/AUD slowly climbing, and with slowly I mean that there is a nice amount of volume. Last week spike 141 pips, even though it doesn't look like this, looks like a 30 pip chart. So the very interesting part is that some pairs, they are when you look at them, you think like, wow, that's an uptrend. It goes up, it makes pullbacks, it goes up, it makes some pullbacks, and it is a nice trend. And then you measure it, and you could have made 30 pips. This one looks that it's slowly going up. A lot of candles are correcting themselves. Oh, sorry guys, really short night, and I had no coffee yet, but my stomach is a bit upset. So I decided not to have any coffee yet, but that's not not really good, and the other way as well. But anyway, staying here on focus, GBP AUD looks like it's not that aggressive of a pair. You see almost every candle being followed by another color candle. So okay, we have two or three green ones, and boom, we have a big red one against it, or it's just green, red, green, red, green, red. Um, Slowly but surely it moves up 150 pips plus, and that's just sometimes that just amazes me. So you can't really see it. Well, if you would just simply would have bought on Monday, you would have made 150 pips on Friday, and that's pretty serious. And this is a certain level of trading that I do as well. So there's a couple of pairs where I'm doing a weekly investment in. I just decide which ones I think go up on Monday, and then I follow them for the week, but mostly just to only close them on Friday. So it's very interesting technique. GBP NZD here, a more clear uptrend, and for about 5 days here, moving to a Friday high of also 155 pips. So on GBP AUD and GBP NZD, guys, you must have made some good money if you were still trading. Even though it doesn't look like a lot, they made their pips. GBP JPY, a very clear moves. We were here talking about a breakout on top. It did. That's very good. I'm gonna delete all of that. There was a target there up there, but we are going to determine our new targets. 15 minutes started buying only on 29 December here, moved already up 150 pips only from then. So really crazy. From when it broke out here, made a pullback. When it's above the major trend, we had a 400 pip move, guys. That is really serious from 22 December. This one just looks like very, very slow, but slowly moving up. The green candles are not being taken out by any red ones. So GBP was a very good investment. If it is for this week, I don't know yet. But if it simply continues the same, five, it's always good to draw this one for the next week and to have an idea where it could be. Other option is a, where is it? Here, yeah, bar pattern. Other one that I really like to do is one, two, three, four, five. Just select the bar pattern for the last week, and instead of this boring yellow line, I'm just putting the bar pattern here. I really put it on the opening candle, and I think I already did that spot on. There we go. And it gives us an idea where the market could go. But not only that, what it also will tell me is which moments there might be a little drop. On this one, of course, very clear uptrend, but you do see here's a little drop, here's a little drop, here's a drop, and they happen to occur on the same times. So even though this market might do something completely different, somewhere here on 4 January, that is tomorrow, 2 3 o'clock, we might expect a drop and then a slow recovery, and then a bit quicker going up the day after, again same time 2 o'clock. So bar chart gives me a little bit more information than only the trend and the end goal, because the end goal would be there, to have another about 150 pips. So a bit more actually. So it's very interesting. GBP JPY gets a green flag from me to see if that would be worth investing. Now the last three to finish the session. USD CAD dropped the same because of the other CAD pairs. Technically an uptrend, but just dropped in the last couple of days. Wouldn't do anything with it right now. CAD JPY, we had some targets, all targets reached. We're going to delete all of that, and the market started to move up after we hit that low, and the market started to trend somewhere from here. Actually, here on 24 December, the 15 minutes teams would already been buying, and the last couple of days of the year were really spiky. Now we start very slow. I think that can still get a bit of a correction, but clearly this pair wants to get into an uptrend, which USD JPY already is, and it's a bit the same as GBP JPY. It's just going up, so it probably just keeps going the same way. On the 1 hour, we had many buy options last week, and I really hope you catched some of that. Then gold. This level I'm gonna delete because it was just an 1800 level. I'm gonna delete this arrow. I'm gonna delete this arrow. Are there any other arrows? Yes, I'm gonna delete those arrows. Um, this is a high level. I will keep it like that. This is the 1900 level. We can imagine that one. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on the line for the January open and December did such a great job. So from December open to December close was 3.27%. So that was absolutely amazing. I'm going to put here a new line, and I'm going to call this the January 2021-22 open. And we are going to keep an eye on this guy. Oh, I need to put the color of the line like this. Okay. We need to keep an eye on this guy because it's gonna maybe play around in between lines, in between levels here with August. It spiked through. That was very good. I'm very happy gold closed this positive after the December open was so negative. We saw the gold market plummet since August, and it tried to recover a bit, but it didn't really. And then the last 2 days of the year, It broke through and it stayed above and it made a new January 2022 open on a very, very nice 1830. Now, what would be any target for me? I would say that gold is on its way back to the old high of 1875. So for me, if it stays above this January line, I would say it can go quick. There is a level somewhere 1850, 1847, and then we might have an 1875 a week or two later. So let's see what gold's gonna do, but I'm definitely thinking more buying than selling. Silver closed miraculously, almost I would say, closed here above the December open. We had a 24.4 support resistance level that I'm gonna delete. We had a December open here, and basically here it opened, and for the whole December up till 27, it was in minus. Then we got a bit of hope, and then it dropped again. But at the end, it closed, and that's very, very good news. It closed here the year with a January open silver on 23.30, which is good. So at the end, the market probably happy about 2.14% increase, which for silver isn't a lot after we saw it crash for about 6%. Um, but still, positive 2% to close the year, which historically it always does. So, gold, silver in December almost always a positive moment in December. So, that this would have been a minus would have been really crazy for me for the last couple of years. That never happened. So happy it did close positively, especially because I told a lot of people. And yeah, let's see what January is going to bring. I hope silver is going to make that nice recovery. We have this support resistance level. It dropped a bit, but the goal would be, I think, to let's check pivot levels. I think the goal should be to have some level here, some level here, there, and then it's just a ladder up. So these are the pivot levels from the past. So 23.3, 23.60, 80, 24.20, 24.60, and then 24.80, and then let's see if we can reach the 24.5 again. Going to 26, in my opinion, in the future. What we are gonna see how far that's gonna be. So those two, I'm just gonna put those green flags on it. They both look very positive to me, and yeah, I would say it's a kind of time to start buying them. Make sure CCI is in plus so that you have a good entry, and work on your target. Um, US 30, I long it for 2 weeks now. Okay, I can check. It's not a pair that I'm personally trading. So if you are here for 2 weeks, wow, then I would definitely, personally, I would have taken my take profit because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you entered maybe somewhere here. Then you had a very heavy period and then a very euphoric period. But currently, you should be in plus over that 2 weeks ago entry. So that looks very good, but it looks very flat to me right now. I would potentially say maybe it's smart to get out and assess later this week on Tuesday, Wednesday when you want to do something again. That would be my very short version of my opinion there.